Hi, welcome back to Back on Trail. Today's a little bit of a special video. I'm not out there in the field, I'm not out there hiking, kayaking, camping, but I'd like to share with you what kind of gear I bring with me when I'm going out hiking and camping. If you've seen one of my previous videos, you know what kind of gear I bring with me, and I can keep that at about 17, 18 pounds, about 8, 9 kilos. But once I add my camera gear, the game kind of changes. As it stands right now, then I have two cameras. I've got the Insta360 1X2. That is, I would say my primary camera actually, because once I get used to use a 360 camera, then it becomes, well, invaluable. I cannot live without this one. It does have a downside because it's filming 360 degrees. Then all I have to do is just like point it ahead of me, and then it will film everything around, so I can choose whether you're going to look at me, whether you're going to look at what happens ahead of me, or left and right. But it also means that I'm getting a little bit lazy in terms of narration, because I know I do not really have to consider too much what I'm filming, because there's always be something in post-production that I can use on the camera. Obviously, I'll not be able to have a capture of myself from the front if I had the camera placed behind. That's the only thing I kind of need to consider. Do I want it left, right, and so on and so forth. So this is predominantly video filming when I'm in camp and I want to show various angles and I want to make sure I capture specific things, or if I'm preoccupied with my hands like when I'm kayaking, then this camera here works perfectly well. Also, when I'm doing kayaking, I never really know where things are going to happen. Maybe we have a monkey jumping out of the jungle on the right, and if I was using a Gopro, then it would be a matter of luck if I got that monkey on camera. And the same goes as the last kayaking trip I did. We were kayaking down in Prasak River north of Bangkok, and all of a sudden as we came through a bit of a rough water, we had a huge amount of bats flying above us, and I was a bit preoccupied at that time and didn't even realize that what was flying around was big bats. I just thought it was birds. But later in post-production, I'm able to pull that out because I was using my Insta360 1X2 for that filming. My GoPro Hero 7 Black is my B-roll camera. That's the one I know when I know specifically what I am going to film, what it is specifically I want to tell. And it's also the camera that I use if I have something to tell, like now when I'm having a review of things. I know exactly where I want people to look, then I'll be using my GoPro Hero 7. So they are constantly used together on the whole trip. Now, to keep this, I might add here, I would love to have a drone, and the best drone for me as I look at it right now in comparison with the gear I already have would be a Mavic Air Mini, Mavic Mini 2 is it called, because of the size of it and because of the functionality of it, which is just practical when I'm out and hiking or kayaking. But the reason why I invested in an Insta360 1X2 instead of a drone, obviously price is also a matter, but it's also that this one actually solves the tasks that I would love a drone to do the best, and this one does it 10 times better. But obviously I cannot do some really nice aerial shots over the area where I am, so it's a price I got to pay by the fact that I cannot afford the drone. So those are the two cameras that I'm using. So that my primary sources of material for my trips. To make sure that they are good and protected, then I have this ulanzi housing that I use for my GoPro. Click it in like this, and then I have a audio adapter that I have mounted as well, because I like to use a high quality external mic. Get into that in a second here. So that setup here is standard. And for my Insta360 1X2, I am most often using this ulanzi mount as well. It is just for protection. I had the 1X2, the Insta360 1X, and I was unfortunate on a trail run to fall down, and the camera hit a rock, and that was all it took, and it was gone and done. I mean, it just didn't survive that. I would not try to test this out banging it to a rock whether it would survive that either. But I suspect that it would have a bigger chance if I am protecting it with this metal caging here. The other advantage is that if I do want to, I can then mount various accessories on the sides, because we got 2 cold shoes as well. In order to make sure that the video quality is supported by good audio, then I have invested in Rode Wireless Mic 2, which I will then have mounted on my Gopro. This is normally where I will have it mounted, because I just got to take a look here, yeah. Because my Insta360 is what I got on the kayak, and it is actually quite good at taking in the ambient sound. And I rarely speak of value anyway if I'm using my Insta360 One X2. So I like to use this one with my GoPro. Just hang on a second here. I can get my bearings. So all I do is I just plug that into my GoPro like this, and then I will have the transmitter on me somewhere or in close proximity of me, and then no matter where my camera is, this receiver will go straight into the camera and record the sound. Now the sound from the Rode Wireless Go 2 is pretty good, but I have found that it is better, even better so, if I use the Edutige ETM-001 microphone, which I really love. It's a very sensitive microphone, but you can have that attached to your Rode like this, and all of a sudden you have a really good setup. If I'm just doing ambient sound with my GoPro, then I will just plug this one directly into my audio adapter on my GoPro without the wireless Go. What I really like about this small one, without actually making a review of it, is just that it's a simple small microphone, and no mechanical parts, nothing that bends, no nothing. Really like it, really like it. So this is obviously to improve the audio on the trip. I have also invested in an audio adapter for the Insta360 One X2. Got that here just in case that I want to have an external microphone attached to my 360 camera. In order to get this out of distance from me, then I am using predominantly this setup here. This is the Insta360. I think it's I can't remember how far long it is. Meter 20 selfie stick. And just because if I should drop it in the water, I have this reflective bands on it. And I have it mounted with this spear I have had made myself, because one of the things I really find weird is that the market haven't invented or have got something out there that people can use for it. Because when I'm out, I'm not in urban areas. I'm always 99% of my time out in the forest, out in the jungle, out kayaking. And one thing I really would hate was if my Insta360 One X2 were to tip over with these protruding lenses. It is just doomed to be a disaster. And I really don't trust tripods, and if I should have a tripod that I should have the slightest bit of confidence in, it would be a very big one. And weight and bulk and volume is really an issue for me on my trips. So I find this one 10 times or 100 times more reliable. I basically just jam this one in the ground, and instantly I have a solid way of having my camera mounted in the terrain. It won't fall over even if it's getting a little bit windy. Plus, because of the selfie stick and the mount isn't protruding out of the selfie stick's diameter, then I have a camera that is kind of floating in the air. You won't be able to see the selfie stick. If you're using a tripod, then you would have those legs coming out, and you would be able to see the tripod if you were to use a 360 where you look down, unless you do some special post-editing tricks. But this one, I don't need any tricks whatsoever. My selfie stick is totally gone. It doesn't matter where I planned it. So this is what I always use when I'm out on my kayak trip. It's what I use when I'm out on my camping trips, because it's just so easy. You take it out of the camera mount on my kayak, just jam it in the banks, and boom, I can do whatever I want. I don't have to worry about it. So that is my primary go-to selfie setup. Now I have the small selfie stick from Insta360 as well. I don't think it's more than 80 centimeters or so, 60, 80 centimeters. and that is my backup. If I want to use both cameras in conjunction, then it's good to have some reach with that. And along with that, I got a small handy tripod here, what I really like, with a ball bearing head, easy to move around. You can adjust it exactly to your likings, and small, lightweight, and you can extend it a little bit if you want a little bit more reach, if you're doing some up close and personal video filming, b-rolling or whatnot. And obviously this one can be mounted on top of it, and then you get yourself a little bit better reach. So those are my selfie stick kind of arrangement. I also have this small flat mounted here. That's the one that comes with the GoPro when you buy it. It's the top mount, and then you got the GoPro sitting in there. That's the one I use if I really want to get very down low with my filming. The tripod will still be too high, then this one is good. And it's very flat and handy. You can have it in your PDF when you're out there, PFD, sorry, your PFD when you're out kayaking. And it just weighs nothing, it fills nothing, no bulk, no nothing. It's very easy to use to get your camera out. And it obviously comes with a few GoPro settings mounts here, and an extra little nut. My SD cards, I got them here in a little waterproof casing. I've got the GoPro, no sorry, GoPro, I got the SD card adapters here, micro SD card adapters. I've got a few regular memory cards from back in the days when I had a good real camera. And then I got a number of high quality micro SD cards, which has to be good because the Insta360 is with 5.6K videos, and it really has to be good and fast if it's got to render it on the card without having any issues of stalling on me. So I've got a number of those, and normally the amount of card I have here, I have enough for 2 or 3 days of filming, ending up with maybe having an hour's final product. So that's plenty enough, but I still have to make backup. Oh, then I have this little Fresnel lens here, and that is partly just to divide it a little bit, but it's also with sore eyesight, as I do have, sometimes it can be difficult to read the small letters, and that's why I like to have it as a backup. Now, talking about backup, when I am out on my trip, I bring this little 1 terabyte hard disk we made from Western Digital SSD drive. And in conjunction with this USB hub here, I am actually able to use my phone to transfer data from the SD cards or micro SD cards directly to my hard drive. This means that I can copy whatever I'm doing at nighttime when I go to sleep. I can just set it up and it will copy for me, so that when I wake up in the morning, if I do have a lack of space for my micro SD card, I have all the data here. Or if I do have enough space but just want to make sure I don't by mistake delete something, or the camera makes an error, or the card goes bad on me, I always have the backup on this one here. I can make a separate video for you on that if you would like so. But that's a very small, very handy solution. Then it comes to something that's really bulky, and that is how to juice this all up. When I am out on these trips, I might have flashlights that needs to be refilled as well. Usually not though, because it's very good flashlights, but I just need to make sure that I have the option for it. But I need these here charged. I need Insta360 1X2 charged. I need my 2 wireless Go from Rode charged, and I need my Garmin Fenix 5 charged, because I always track where I'm walking on GPS for later analysis, but also for later for knowing exactly what I've been doing. So in order to make sure that that happens flawlessly, well, then I cannot get extra batteries for that Insta360 camera there. I don't know why, but that's just the way it is. Then I'll bring 3 batteries. Got a not real one there, and then I got 2 here. And these batteries here on a 3-day trip would normally suffice. That is not a problem. But normally, and be 100% sure, I'm not really. So I also obviously got a battery in there. So I got 4 full batteries, and they have it like, as far as I remember, 1.5 each. So that's like 6 hours of filming that I can have. Now that's not a lot, but if you're a little bit experienced about how to film, it is a good deal. But to make sure that it won't really be a problem, then I've got two power banks. I've got this old trusted power banks. I made a review of that one in another video. You can go take a look at that. It's waterproof, it's bounce proof. I mean, it's been dropping it so many times. I like to have it hanging on my kayak because it's waterproof, because whenever I then need to charge my Insta360, it's easy just to plug it in and there you are. So that is a huge amount of data. That one was for my charging my watch. Then I've got this relatively new things here. It is also a power bank, and the reason why I bought this version is because sometimes when I'm out doing these longer trips, it can be a bit of a pain to find your power banks out and make sure it's always charged, because this one is like bumping around. But this one's got a thread in the bottom, thread in the top, so you can basically just put that in conjunction with your my stick here and the selfie stick, and all of a sudden I have my power bank together with it. Now it's protruding a little bit. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but that is not much, and it's really not a problem, because it's only if you want to do some VR video or stuff like that, you look down, you can see it. In reality, I don't see it on my video, and otherwise, if I'm walking with it and I want to make sure that it's not visible on the video, I just walk with it up here, so this comes behind my hand, and I'm holding it like a normal selfie stick would be done, and this is already rendered away. No problem whatsoever. I really, really like that. It is not ready to be waterproof, but I can tell you that I've been mistake, forgot I had it, and I had to do or not had to, but I wanted it to film myself crossing a river. So I just jammed this one down the riverbed, and that's also where it's a good advantage compared to a tripod. You just wouldn't be able to do that with a tripod. I jammed that in the riverbed with this one mounted as well. And as I came back again, I realized that that was maybe not that good idea, because it was submerged like this much. And but it's still working absolutely flawlessly, no problem whatsoever. Okay, then just for safety, I got one of these for the socket on the wall. Just if I should be close to somewhere where I can do that, so I don't have to pull batteries on my power banks. I've got a little one here for powering my GoPro batteries, but normally it works by just charging the battery directly in my GoPro whenever I get the opportunity for it. But just in case, and it is not really a lot of extra bulk. Then I have this pouch here. I could do it, take all the things out of it, but in reality, the only thing I got in here is cables. So that's basically just cables to make sure that everything can be and stays charged. Oh, I also got a special cable for my hard drive. And the last thing, which is a bit of a bulky thing to bring along, but that's just because I'm paranoid. It is my solar panel. I cannot remember, but I think it's a 20-watt solar panel, and I love it to bits. It is with me almost on every single trip, because I know I could bring a bigger power bank, but you don't know if it's all of a sudden gets faulty on you and it's depleted. And then you are in a problem. This one here, when I come to camp, which I usually do about 2, maybe no later than 3, when it really gets hot here in Thailand, then one of the first things I do is lay this one out on the ground, put my power banks into it, and all the while I'm setting up camp and making food ready or whatever I'm doing, this one is taking care of recharging my power banks or whatever I need recharged. If I haven't used my power banks that day, then I'll just directly charge my cameras. So this is my backup solution to make sure that no matter what happens out there, I do have a source for batteries, because I would really hate to run out of that. So yeah guys, this was just to give you an idea of what I bring, and it has been a process to reduce it. I had a Sony camera before, various versions including the mirrorless cameras, but it just became so bulky and heavy that it was a menace to bring along, and it was also a bit too cumbersome if you wanted to film it. This is a point and shoot kind of thing, which makes it so much easier and more fun to enjoy yourself out there. But it still has to be a certain quality, obviously. But as you're looking at this on the table, it is not much, but it covers all bases as far as I'm concerned, but it still adds up to 2.8 kilos. So when I'm bringing 9 kilos of luggage with me, which includes my hammock, my sleeping gear, my cooking gear, my food, a liter of water. When I bring all that, then this represents further 3 kilos, about 3 kilos, including the bag for sure, 3 kilos. So it's quite heavy to bring gear, even when you've done it by a reduced manner like I have here. But if you are doing content creations and you have a different kind of setup, which I'm sure you have, I'd love to hear what kind of setup you're using, how you're filming your trips. So hit me up in the comments. I'll go take a look. This is what I do. So until next time, stay curious.